Hi friends, it's Barbara Dahl and I'm here today for our rocking chair chat and knit and chat. And we're rocking in my favorite rocking chair. Get myself all straightened around here. Welcome. Grab a cup of tea, your favorite beverage. I have my Red Lobster mug here. Coffee's almost all gone, but I have enough to finish a short video. And I'm ready to share a few things with you today. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm knitting. I'm going to share just some general conversation with you about life in general, some gratitude, and what's next, right? We like to kind of say, well, what's next on your plan? What's coming up? And then a blessing. So let's just dive right into it, okay? So what am I working on? I'm working on socks. And you know me, I'm doing the year of socks 2024. And this is what I worked on this week. Since the 1st of April, so there's a good picture of it there. I am doing an afterthought heel, as you can see now. Isn't that pretty? And I love my little owls. This just shows me or reminds me which needle's the first one. Isn't that cute? So I'll be finishing that up fairly quickly here today. I do have to learn though that when I put the wool in for the afterthought heel, that I need to put in a wool that will come out easily and that is high contrast, because it was a pink that was very close to the pink in here, and it was a fuzzy wool, so it didn't want to release. So that was kind of crazy. And let me just, it's 2.5. I don't even think I can get that close enough to see. Probably not. But this is my standard vanilla latte sock. 60 rows for the foot. I believe it was 50 for the leg on 72 stitches. So the goal is to have these finished before the 15th. So yes, I'll finish these today. And on the 15th, if not later today, because it's always good. I got this from Stephen West, that when you finish the sock, cast on the next one right away. And that way you don't feel like this second sock syndrome thing that's overwhelming. So I will probably cast on the second sock today. This is a merino nylon blend, great sock yarn, hand dyed here in Canada. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. So I'll put that aside and I'll ask. I mean, I made the decision, I think I mentioned this in our last chat, that I couldn't decide whether to do an afterthought heel or a peasant heel or a boomerang heel, you know, the short row. So I ended up with the afterthought. So that's what that was. What else am I working on? I'm also working on a little, I mean, it's very little right now, and I'm not working very hard on it. But this is, it will be a baby shawl, a baby blanket that will go in our prayer shawl inventory at church for when a baby is ill or a baby's baptized. And this was some yarn that was gifted to me. It came from somebody's stash. They didn't want it anymore. So it's definitely acrylic. It's definitely washable. And the pattern I'm using is Stephen West Boneyard Shawl. And you can find that on Ravelry. I really enjoyed working on it. It's 10 rows, 10, 11, and then the 12th row is a garter stitch row. And it's an increase on both ends and an increase in the middle. And it started with a tab down here. So that's the shawl I'm working on this week. And I met on Tuesday, with a group of ladies called the Busy Stitchers at church. We meet in different homes and celebrate. And we're working on prayer shawls and just have wonderful conversations. So my question for you is, do you have a group of people that you gather with? The last Monday of the month, I have an online through Facebook Messenger, an online knitting. So far, there's only 3 of us, but you're welcome if you would like to be notified when we go live, and just come and we catch up with each other's lives and we knit and we chat. So, and I'm all about the knitting and the chatting, aren't I? So that's what I've been working on this week, mostly the sock. I have done 1 to 2 rows a day on my whatever sweater. So let me just see if I can reach it here. There we are. So you can see it's coming slowly because I'm not working on it steady. But there it is. This is the Briggs & Little that I've been working away at. So maybe I'll do something like the Crazy Sock Lady. You can Google her. And she's on YouTube and Instagram. She puts a stitch marker type thing at the beginning of a week to see how far she's knit. So maybe I'll start doing that too. But isn't that pretty? It'll be a lighter sweater, although it is 100% wool. But it won't be heavy. So, and my pretty stitch savers. So I'm going to have to get more of those because those are kind of fun. So that's the other thing I have been working on this week. I didn't work on my northeasterly blanket this week, but that's okay. There's lots of time. That's just something that I continue with, and I do have, if I can reach around, my jar of bits and pieces when I did my 100 days of spindling. So this is what I draw from, so I just grab one and go when I do that. And I'm still working on my green mitten, so I won't really show you anything because I didn't work on it at all. What am I reading? I'm reading The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. And we purchased it last week, so it's brand new for us. And each morning when we have coffee, then I read a page of what he's talking about. And what I really liked today was the idea that fewer words are better. Less is more. And I think that's how it is in most of our lives, right? Like less is more. Less stuff to clean, less ideas that clutter in my mind. I use a brain dump in my bullet journal. Let me just show you my current bullet journal. And it'll read backwards, I'm sure, right? This is an official bullet journal. It's a Lycron 1017, and I've been working through it. I do have a planner that I also work in. But when my brain gets all cluttered, then it's time to write it down. And sometimes I don't think about that soon enough, but there it is. I got it written down. So I could do a little bit of knitting, I guess, while we're chatting, because that's the idea, right? To knit and to chat. But what's next? What's coming up? Well, I had different ideas about habit building, and I made a list. I do 12 rows a day on my sock. And by doing 12 rows a day, I can complete a pair in a month. Now, if I did more, obviously I could do more. But this way, it's not overwhelming. It's like I don't need to finish a pair of socks in a week. I guess if I were challenged, I could. It's taking my whatever sweater and writing down. The goal is 1 row a day. And sometimes I do 2. But I think, it may take a long time to finish it at that rate, but it's going to take a long time for me anyway, because I'm always working on other things. But I've been listening to Ali Abdal on YouTube, and you can search for him. He's got some great productivity hacks and ideas, and his latest one was on discipline. And it's not so much about being disciplined as it is about habit building, about the ritual, the routines that keep us focused and keep us going. So sometimes it's more about doing a little bit every day and not feeling overwhelmed. And that creates the discipline. It creates the habit. So when, like, I have a specific routine in my morning routine. I call it my start my day routine, SMD, start my day. And I do the same things pretty much in the same order every day. And if I sleep in and I have to rush and I, kind of get out the door without doing the routine, then it messes with my whole day. It just changes my attitude and it affects other areas. So I know when I get up every day and I make my bed that I've completed one task. I make my bed every morning, unless I'm stripping the bed, and then it's a whole different thing. But it's doing the same things at the same time of day, and it doesn't feel restricted. It feels like, hey, I've accomplished something, and it's part of my disciplined life. I don't have a great disciplined life. I'm not a disciplined person, and you might think, as a musician, that I would be very disciplined, but I had to force myself to practice. I didn't like practicing. I'm not sure I know anyone who, child in school, or getting ready for exams, piano exams, etc., really enjoyed those practice times, like really. But without all that practice times, I couldn't do what I do now. And one of the gifts I have, because of the amount of time I spent at the piano and what I worked on, and because I studied church music and it was necessary, I became a good sight reader. And it is part of who I am and how I'm able to just sit down and open that hymn book and just play. I mean, I make mistakes, of course I do, but in sight reading, it's not about perfection. It's about, can somebody sing this with me? I think if I picked up the ukulele and practiced a little bit more, I'd be more proficient, but is it important to me right now? So I look at some of my fiber skills, my knitting. I think 30 years ago, I might have been able to knit a pair of socks as well as I do now. I remember knitting a pair of long socks for my husband in fine Croy sock yarn. And it took me a while. But I did it, and I learned how to turn the heel because I was persistent. And some people say, well, I'd never be able to do the heel. It's too complicated. Well, if you take things step by step and don't think about how overwhelming it all can be, then you can do it. Some people find knitting in the round to be too difficult. Well, if knitting in the round is too difficult for you, try knitting socks on 2 needles. I know people who start socks on 2 needles or start mitts on 2 needles and then change over to 3 or 4. But start with what you know and then build on it. Don't make it such a big chore that you feel overwhelmed and you want to throw it in the garbage. Because, we can't all be perfect at everything, and we certainly can't all be great at something the first few times we're out, right? The first few times we try it. So we try a little bit each and every day. So I hope that's a bit of encouragement for you. You can see I'm getting around here on this little heel. It's pretty easy for me right now. It's a plain knit row, and then the other row is decreasing a stitch on each needle, one way or the other. I'm making sure I get it right while I'm chatting. So, yeah, what's next? Well, what's next for me is casting on the next sock, deciding what I'm spinning, because I've kind of put the spinning aside for a while, so it needs to come back into my timeline and my English paper piecing. And I have a pattern and fabric all ready to be cut out for a skirt for myself for the summer. So that's on my list. And I've got 2 pairs of jeans to hem for Nick. They've been on that list since before Christmas, so it's about time. I did something with that, right? Sometimes it's kind of hard, but yeah, I can get there. No worries, right? No problems. So those are the things that are next for me. And I just want to say thank you for all of you who watch my videos and who've been able to do the thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. It makes me feel all warm and fuzzy. And I know I enjoy watching other creators. So I hope that you can enjoy some of what I'm doing today. And I try to post these rocking chair knits once a week. So I'm going to continue to do that. That's my plan. I do post our Sunday worship on Sundays. So if that is where your heart lies, please feel free to watch and share any comments, any prayer requests, or any blessings that you would like to share with everyone. You're quite welcome to do that. But I hope you have a wonderful day. We're hitting the middle of April. Strange weather we've been having, rain. The eclipse came and went. The daffodils are blooming here on the mountain, and they're so pretty. The garbage can lid is halfway in the backyard because of the wind, but we're doing well. We have something to be thankful for every single day, something to laugh at every single day. And may we all continue to feel a blessing every single day. So as I say farewell, keep knitting, keep crafting, whatever that is for you, and keep rocking. God bless. Till next time.